Hi, it's Dr. Lewis Clark, and I want to thank you again for joining me on these videos about proper nutrition and nutritional principles from mine and my wife Rhonda's new book, the Eat and Live Well Cookbook. And I'm going to be honest with you, I realize that my part in this book is by far the least interesting. The most important part of this book are the recipes. As a matter of fact, today for lunch I had this recipe that my wife made for me, which is chicken curry, and it was delicious. So you're going to enjoy the recipes in this book because they're not only delicious, they're not only gluten and dairy free, they're not only processed sugar free, but they are easy to make. You won't have to go to the store to go get some exotic spice that you don't have and search all over the store for it and spend money to buy something you're only going to use for one recipe. No, these are things that we prepare, well, my wife prepares, and that I enjoy on a regular basis. So the recipes are the most important and the best part of this book. However, there are some principles about nutrition that you need to know in order to not only improve your health, but also to help your family, okay? And as we go through this thing of life, you can see generation by generation that we're not getting healthier, okay? Matter of fact, we've got more chronic illness than we've ever had, and we went through last time, in the last video, if you haven't seen it, some of the reasons why that is, so go back and look at that. But what I want to address today is one of the problems that we face is that we don't get enough real food. So I want to talk to you today about why real food matters. And when I mean real food, I mean food by God, not food by man. Food by God, by the way, doesn't have labels. Now I think it's important that you know how to read labels because occasionally you're going to have to, but for the most part, you should be having food that doesn't have any labels on it because it was grown in the ground. Or if it's healthy meat, it was raised eating the food that it was intended to eat. So whether you're talking about an animal or especially if you're talking about a human being, we are designed and engineered and created by God, and we have certain genetic requirements. And one of those is our food source. And if you change that, you're going to change the expression of your genes. And this is why I think we have more chronic illness, more diabetes, more cancer, more heart disease, more of all these things continue to happen is because one of the reasons is we're not getting real food. We're not following the diet that our genes were created and engineered to take in. So what do I mean by real food? Well, vegetables. You know, my wife loves to ask this question of people when she's doing her counseling. How many vegetables? Do you like to eat vegetables? Everybody always says, yeah, I like vegetables. Most people do. And they're like, okay, let's go through the last 48 hours and let's see how many vegetables you had. And by the time they're done, they realize that maybe they had one or two. Let me just say up front, corn is not a vegetable. Corn is a grain, all right? So when you get down to it, you see that real food really matters. So I want to touch on vegetables for a minute because of the reason why it really, really, really matters. Number one, you need nutrients, of course, and there are a lot of nutrients in vegetables. But number two, you need the fiber. You need the diverse plant fiber because it's feeding the bacteria that are in your gut, that are protecting you and producing your 70 to 80% of your immune response. They're affecting your gene health, protecting you from infections and a whole lot of other things. So we have to have, if we're going to have healthy bacteria, we have to have food for them. And that is your plant source and your vegetable source mainly. And I have a rule also with fruits, and fruits are very important, but here's the rule, very simple. 2 vegetables for every 1 fruit. If you keep that rule, you can have as much fruit as you want. But if you can get out of balance with fruit, because fruit does have natural sugar in it. So I want to focus on getting both of those in, but in a 2-to-1 ratio, all right? And the last thing I want to talk about real food, of course, is healthy meats. And when I say that, people are like, what do you mean healthy meats? I say healthy means an animal that ate what it was intended to eat. It ate a healthy diet. So for cows, they're grass-fed. For chickens, they're free range. Okay. For pork, they're pasture-raised. So they get some things that are naturally included in their diets. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully if you haven't already seen and you haven't already ordered our book, call my office. You can pre-order the book. It's normally priced at $20 and it will be available in October, but you can pre-order it this month in September for just $10 for each book. And you can call my office and reserve your copy, and I'll even get my wife to autograph it for you. We'll have it available for you in October. So until then, live life well. God bless.